It had begun as one of Joe Biden's strongest speeches so far, condemning Russia's attack on Ukraine.
Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness.
But it ended as his most controversial.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Cue outrage from Moscow and an immediate correction from Biden's Secretary of State.
As you know, and as you've heard us say repeatedly, we do not have a strategy of regime change in Russia or anywhere else for that matter.
And Biden himself clearly knew he'd gone too far.
Mr. President, were you calling for regime change?
No.
On Monday, he clarified his comments.
But I want to make it clear, I wasn't then, nor am I now, articulating a policy change. I was expressing the moral outrage that I feel, and I make no apologies for it.
Personal feelings, sir. Your personal feelings?
My personal feelings.
It's considered highly unlikely that Putin genuinely believes that Joe Biden had accidentally revealed a secret US plan to pursue regime change. But the gaffe has handed the Russian leader a propaganda weapon. It bolsters Moscow's narrative that the West is using Ukraine to try to depose the elected Russian leader.
And it's not the only time the US president has misspoken during the current crisis. Asked what NATO's response would be if Putin used chemical weapons in Ukraine, he replied,
Trigger a response in kind. Whether or not you're asking whether NATO would cross, we'd make that decision at the time.
His comments had to be corrected by officials. And he appeared to suggest to US troops stationed in Poland that they'd soon be seeing the situation in Ukraine for themselves, despite Washington's policy that there'll be no American boots on the ground there.
As president, you have to be very careful that you only say what you mean and you always mean what you say. And that requires a different skill set than the retail politics that Joe Biden has been very successful at for half a century.
Biden supporters have brushed his mistakes off as inconsequential. His critics say that in a time of international crisis, they're potentially highly dangerous. John Brain, TRT World, Washington.